he couldn't help it. He couldn't help it. It was so inherent in him to just be this musical genius and be this incredible frontman. I don't know what planet he came from. I already said this to him so many times. I don't know where you came from, man. I don't know. But
welcome to Artist on Record, your ultimate intimate conversation with your favorite artists. Today we have a deeply emotional episode with Jamie Weiland, wife of the late Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots. She's going to share her heartfelt story about how she coped with the devastating news of Scott's passing and what life is like since he's been gone. In the meantime, make sure you subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and put your hands together for Jamie and the courage of her coming on the show today. What's your favorite Scott Weiland song, would you say? It's a tough one.
Circles.
We would dance around in circles in the kitchen.
Off Blaster. It's about me. I can't listen to it without crying. I can't even talk about it without crying. But
yeah. No, I get it. I totally get it. It's all fresh. It all seems like it happened yesterday.
Yeah, 7 years.
It's crazy.
I know. I just some things just don't ever leave you.
No, it was recently on the 3rd of December, 2015. It was. Yeah. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right before he passed away, when he was going on the road and doing. Did you go to some of the shows with him on tour?
Oh yeah, I was out on that tour. The only reason I came back to LA is because I came back to LA on November 27th because it was my son's birthday. And Scott had a few more shows, couple more shows, and then he was gonna come home. We were gonna have the best Christmas ever. And then I got the call. And everything just was gone. Just gone.
Sad loss for the music industry. Scott Weiland, the former frontman for 90s mega band Stone Temple Pilots and then the Velvet Revolver, has died. You can see him in his new band, Scott Weiland and the Wildabouts, here in Montclair, New Jersey last Saturday. Reports say that Weiland passed away in his sleep last night on his tour bus in Bloomington, Minnesota. Weiland battled substance abuse for many years. He was just 48 years old.
And even though it's been 7 years, I don't think I'll ever get around to that first week in December without losing it a little bit.
Yeah.
And as hard as it was for me, it was so hard for his crew and his band members, who were the ones that found him and had to call me. And my heart breaks for them. It was just horrific. And my son was 12 at the time. And he was there when I got the phone call. And I fell to the floor in the kitchen just screaming. It's like someone just punches you in the face with the worst nightmare imaginable. And my son, my little boy at the time, he's like, Mom, there has to be a mistake. This can't be true. There's no way Scotty would leave you. He loves you too much. He would never do this. He would never do this. And the wisdom that poured out of my little boy's mouth was just profound. And I remember looking at him like, how do you know to say these things? How do you know? But, yeah. It was very unexpected. Yeah.
Who called you and broke the news to you?
Maxie Williams, who had been Scott's in-ear monitor sound guy for 20 plus years. He'd always been with Scott, and Maxie is incredible. And he just had to call me and bluntly and kindly tell me that Scott was gone.
Just to make that call. How do you even say it in the words?
And I believe it was Joey Castillo, our drummer, who found him. And I know that that was very hard for Joey. And my heart will always break for him that he had to do that, that Maxie had to call me. Like, I don't know. I don't know what would have been better if I had been there, if I had woken up and
Mhm.
he had passed away next to me, or I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing definitely has done a number on me.
You don't know. You really don't know. And what if I would have been here, if I would have been there?
Who knows?
You don't know.
None of these scenarios come with a handbook.
No,
No,
they
there's no
don't.
way.
There's no book for death for dummies. You know, I always try to handle it with laughter. I try to laugh because it's all we got.
Yeah,
It's
it's true. And it also reminds you that you're alive. You're alive and you're okay. No, I've lost both my parents. My dad just passed away just in October.
I'm sorry for your loss. October. Wow.
Yeah. My mother died. My mother died in 2011. Uh, two of my very, very best friends, one of them being Jeremy Brown, who is
Jerry, who was in the band with Scott?
Jeremy. Yeah, he was the guitar player, and he died, I want to say March of
Oh,
2015.
so he died after Scott?
He died before
Oh no,
Scott.
he died before Scott. Oh,
Yeah.
2015. Okay, okay.
So Jeremy was my brother. I mean, on the road, Jeremy was like my buddy. Like,
Oh.
and his sisters and his mom and I are close.
When Jeremy passed away, how did Scott handle that?
Um, not well.
No.
Not well. None of us handled it well. He was 34 years old. And one of the kindest, sweetest, most epically talented musicians I've ever known. I mean, if he had lived, he would have just been one of those. Oh, Jeremy Brown, the guitar
Yeah.
player? Oh, yeah, of course. Genius. Like, the whole world would have known.
So Scott took that hard, that whole
Oh,
passing.
it destroyed him. It destroyed him. I remember actually at that time asking my son's biological dad, who also is amazing. I'm like, you got to come get Wolfie because this house is so sad. And Scott
Yeah.
and I are just crying nonstop. It's not a great place for a child to be. Yeah, Jeremy was hard. It's still hard. So
Did Scott want to did he have to force himself to go back on the road? Okay, I'm gonna go and
yeah,
did he
yeah.
not want to go?
Well, he needed a little bit of time for healing, and then it was kind of like the show must go on. And what would Jeremy want? Jeremy would want us to get back out there. And I always say us, like I was in the band. I was just the band mom. But he would want that band to go out. And then we found Nick Maybury, who I felt so bad for Nick initially because Jeremy was family. He was a brilliant guitar player. He was our family. He was our brother. And here comes Nick, who none of us knew. We knew he was very talented because we auditioned guitar players. But, you know, Nick Maybury just kind of jumped into everything head first and just, you know, obviously we came to love him so much too. And he is incredible. He's an incredible guitar player and wait, my phone. And also just a great guy. Just a great guy. And yeah, he hit the ground running and He was incredible. And that actually was such a blessing for Scott to have a guitar player who he didn't have an emotional attachment to, who just came in and killed it on stage. So in a way, it was a great replacement and a great distraction from something that broke all of our hearts.
Mm.
But, you know, life moves on. You have to march on. You have to figure things out. And we got Nick, and he's also awesome and a dear friend. So
Which is a hard gig to jump into, knowing that somebody so close you just passed away. You know,
very big shoes to
big
fill.
shoes. Yeah, yeah. It's not easy. It's not easy.
But also,
Yeah.
you know, being on, you know, like being on the road, when you tour on the road, like everybody lives on a bus together. It was always like me and 9 guys. Luckily, I grew up with brothers, so I was like, yeah, okay, I've seen everything. I'm good. But we were so close knit, the band and the crew and the bus driver, even like just a family. And there's Nick, who is replacing Jeremy, and he did it with his head held so high, but he was kind and he was sensitive, and he's a fucking amazing guitar player. So yeah, so that's what happened there.
And the first concert that you ever went to?
Beatlemania. I was about 12 years old.
Was there any, like, before Scott went away, was there any signs of him maybe like partying or just anything going on, like seemed off to you, or you would?
He would go through phases where he would drink a lot. We fought about it. It was we fought only about his abuse of alcohol, because it just transformed him into a different person.
Mm.
And I had caught him a couple times with cocaine, and massive fights about that. And then he swore to me he wasn't going to do it anymore. And when I got the call that he had died and the coroner called me and told me what was in his system, I was just beside myself. I mean, the alcohol, he had cut back a lot. He really had cut back a lot. He was doing so much better. Where he got cocaine, where he got, I think he was on like Molly or something, which was not like him at all. The cocaine, I knew he would try and sneak it. I knew he was doing that. We thought about drinking. I knew we thought about it. But the Molly or ecstasy or whatever else he has, like I never knew about him being into anything like that. And he wasn't particularly partying. He was just doing shows and sleeping on the bus. By getting into his mind, his thought process when that happened, I have no explanation.
There's no, being on a bus like that, you're doing your show, and that's your biggest highs on stage for that time.
Yeah.
But then you have all this much time where you're doing nothing and your mind is wandering, and it's the toughest ride for somebody like Scott, who maybe wasn't ready to go.
Never shut down.
He never shut down, huh?
And he was on so many things. He was on Subutex. Most people, when they get off heroin, are on something like Subutex for 4 to 6 months. At the time I met him, he'd been on it for 11 years. So just in case anyone thinks he was on heroin, he was 1000% not on heroin. He did not overdose on heroin. He had not touched it in many, many years and had no desire to touch it. Did he drink too much? Did he smoke too much? Did he have a little cocaine in his system? Absolutely. But honestly, it wasn't that much. It was like trace amounts. Scott died because of his years of heroin abuse, his years of alcohol abuse, and his years of being essentially a chain smoker. the main artery in his left ventricle of his heart was 95% blocked.
Wow.
Basically, all anybody had to do was go, "Boo," and he would have died. So nobody wants to talk about that. They want to be, oh, he overdosed and he was an addict. That's not why he died. Yes, he had those things in his system. That's not what killed him. That's not what fucking killed him. And I've given up 7 years later trying to explain this to people. I'm the one that has the coroner report. I'm the one that spoke to the coroner. I know why he died. Nobody wants to listen to it. They want to hang on to this. Oh, well, Scott Weiland, he fucked up. I will refrain from using names, but many other musicians who have died since Scott, who truly overdosed or committed suicide, for some reason they are held on some kind of goddamn pedestal. And he's just like, oh, well, Scott Weiland, he fucked up again and then he died. And I am livid about that. I'm furious. And I'm trying to figure out, first of all, ways to be calm about it, but also how I can get the truth out there. What can I do? Because people don't want to listen to the truth. They want to believe the nasty rumors, the untruths that have filtered all over. And of course, everybody on social media has their opinion, and their opinion is right. And I don't know. Most of it I have to shut out because it just infuriates me and makes me crazy. I know way too much about the behind the scenes. I just, and it's heartbreaking.
And he doesn't get the props that he should get as an artist.
That's a whole other thing. The props he should get as an artist, and I'm sorry.
I don't understand that.
Why? Why is he not on a pedestal with many other musicians I could name, but I won't because I don't want to incite anything. Why is he not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I'm sorry. I see the inductees every year, and some of them are like, oh, yeah, definitely. And others, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That band? That person?
Stone Temple Pilots are not in it. And they sold.
Why is STP not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Why? It's insane.
Crazy.
It's insane. Because, like I said, I don't want to rattle off names, but there's a bunch I'm like, really? You put those guys in? But not STP, not Scott Weiland. I mean, double platinum.
Tiny Music was a huge album.
Tiny Music was Scott's favorite.
It was his favorite?
Yep, he loved Tiny Music. It's a great album.
And with that I said,
Great album.
So before Scott went on that tour, and before he went, how was he at home? How was his at home? Was he just typical Scott? Did you see him acting a little moody?
He had gone through a phase where he was drinking so much that I don't really want to go into details, but it was ugly. And then I don't know, he would pull these 180s. He kind of pulled a 180, and he really was like determined to get his shit together and to play great shows. And I remember one of the shows on that tour, he was drinking a lot less, and everybody, the band, the crew was like, he's drinking so much less, so much better. And he had made that switch from being in that drunken bubble where he was sledging through everything to sobering up enough to realize how much better it felt to be sober-ish performing and how good that felt and how much better of a high that was than being shit-faced drunk. So he was making progress. We had taken on a new management team who were just knocking out of the park. His manager, when he passed away, was incredible, and I can only imagine what great things he would have done if Scott had lived. And I do remember one of the shows when I was out with him before he died, he just killed it. And I would always say, stay side stage. I would usually go front of house to actually hear the music because everybody knows listening to a band side stage is the worst. So So I would go for in a house to really listen to the band, but I was always there when he came off stage. And he came off stage one night after just the most amazing show. And I was like, baby, did you do that just to impress me? And he kind of went, maybe. Like all cocky and sweet. It was adorable. But he really, there was a change. There was a change. He was getting better. It was just great management that had just come into the picture. The band was great. The music they were playing was great. He was feeling good. He wanted to get through the tour and come home and have Christmas, which was his favorite holiday. And
Taken away.
taken away.
Very, very sad. It's a very sad story. And then his children, his son. How did his son take that at that?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't really know. The situation with his children that's a whole other story.
It's a whole other story.
Yeah. I dealt with their mother, Mary Forsberg, quite a bit because Scott never got around to situating his estate and who was supposed to be taking care of everything. So he had papers created naming the people that he wanted to handle his estate. FYI, it was a member of Revolver and that member's wife. However, the lawyer never filed it in the court. So when he died, everything went back to the mother of his children, which if Scott had a grave, he would roll over in it, knowing that she controls everything. He would be beyond mortified. I went through 17 lawyers. I could have subpoenaed records. I could have done so many things to take over that and have control of it. But the truth is, he died with millions of dollars of debt, multiple lawsuits, and really at the end of the day, anything that will be profitable from his estate goes to his children. So really, why not let their mother handle it? Let her handle that nightmare. So I just finally gave up. I'm like, you know what, go ahead. You just go ahead and do that. How the kids took it, I don't know. I did not have a relationship with them. That's, like I said, a whole other story, which breaks my heart. But I did everything I could do. And sometimes you just find yourself beating your head against a wall, trying to have a battle of wits with unarmed people. And I just gave up. So,
yeah.
So
happy belated American Thanksgiving. What are you most thankful for?
My wife and my children.
And how old are your kids?
13 and 14.
That's awesome.
Was when my wife was out to visit me, and that was about a week ago.
You can catch all our episodes unedited in our members only club right here on YouTube. In the meantime, post your comments down below. We always love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified. Now click on your screen right here for our next episode. And as always, who loves you, baby? We do. We'll catch you all later.